case you missed the news, in the newest update to Town of Salem 2, we received two new roles, the Marshal and Socialite, along with a few tweaks to other roles, which I want to talk about today. Because while some changes in this update were needed and very positive, I'm worried about what some of the others could mean for the game's health and meta. Let's get into it. So, good news first. Illusionist visits are now astral when targeting a coven member. This is a great step in the right direction. It always sucked getting caught out because you tried to help out your coven. Also, Seer can no longer target the same players on consecutive nights. I think this is also great. The ability to repeatedly check players against a confirmed townie was extremely powerful. This will still leave Seer as a dominant role, but it's now toned back a bit more. Prosecutor's ability will no longer count as the day's trial, which is interesting. I've always thought that Prosecutor and Deputy were too similar functionally. Even last video, I called Prosecutor just a worse deputy. But after this change, I question what the need to have both of them in the game is. Prosecutor is able to kill horsemen, and Deputy only has one shot, but those are the only notable differences I can think of. Do you think that justifies having them as two separate roles? That's not rhetorical, I legit want to know the community's opinion on this. And finally, Coroner can now autopsy stoned corpses. Rest in peace, Medusa. Moving on to the main subject of this video, let's talk about the new roles Marshal and Socialite. Marshal originates from modded Town of Salem. It's a town power role with the day ability to reveal itself, similar to Mayor, and starts a tribunal after doing so. A tribunal replaces that day's usual voting phase. Instead, players will be able to vote and kill 3 players. Once a player is voted during a tribunal, there's no defense phase or way to vote innocent on them. They will always die. Additionally, you won't know the roles of the 3 players until after the tribunal ends. The Marshal gains an additional vote during this tribunal. While this role is a lot of fun, I wouldn't consider it balanced in the slightest. Remember, Marshal is from the better Town of Salem mods, which have other roles that aren't present in vanilla Town of Salem 2 that help balance it out. Without them in the game, it leads to Marshal being very overtuned. I don't think insta-confirmed roles are healthy, at least having a lot of them isn't. Marshal is another role that will be nearly impossible for evils to fake claim because I can't actually press the confirm yourself button. And the more of these roles that are in the game, the higher the likelihood that people end up in a match as evil with multiple of them, unable to match that level of claim credibility and lose before the game even starts to town list RNG. This role has a lot of carry potential, but a lot of throw potential. If somebody uses their ability as Marshal early and you don't get lucky, the game might be over there and then. I'm conflicted in how I feel about it. I like what Marshal represents, an open, supportive communication between the game's developers and the modding community, but I don't think this particular role was quite the right candidate to port over. Socialite, on the other hand, is a town support role with a 2-use day ability that allows everyone in the town to speak together that night. The chat the Socialite creates will replace night chat for evils, denying them the ability to speak privately. The only players not present in the Socialite's chat are the jailor and the person they've jailed that night, who get to keep their private chat. I find this role the more concerning out of the two, for 3 reasons. First, when Town already has so many powerful roles at their disposal and has just gained another one in Marshal's update, Evil's need for coordination and fake claims and planning the following day is becoming more and more important. Socialite can completely cripple their ability to do so. Maybe that was the intended effect of this role, but if it was, it kind of breaks the game. Matches go quickly, and with Town's killing power being amped up this update by the Prosecutor buff and addition of Marshal, they're only gonna go faster. Shutting down night chat for evils for even 2 nights is a devastating blow to them. If you're a longtime player of Town of Salem, you actually know there was a problem similar to this in the early versions of Town of Salem 1, with Spy being able to read Mafia chat, making it so they wouldn't be able to coordinate any strategies. It led to a lot of solo claims by them that didn't require team support and were weaker overall, and made a lot of people dislike playing Mafia on that basis alone. We've seen the effects of denying Evil's night chat. I'm not sure what will happen to Coven in this game, but they didn't need to get hit that hard. Second, I want to talk about a theory I have about how the meta of this role will evolve. I'm a bit hesitant to do so, because I'm worried I might speak it into existence just by saying this on YouTube, but I do believe it will happen in time either way. So, because Jailor and their jailee are the only people not present in the Socialite's chat, Coven can use who is and isn't speaking in night chat to deduce who they are and kill them. I think this is going to lead to townies not using the chat at all in order to hide who the jailor is from Coven, effectively making Socialite's ability to disable Coven chat and nothing else. While it is the best strategy from a competitive perspective, it feels like it goes against the spirit of the role and what it was intended to do. And finally, If you've seen my video on the secret way to communicate at night in Town of Salem 1, you know that any information Town can pass on that they receive at the beginning of the night can drastically affect how others use their ability at the end of the night. So, in this game, for example, you know you're pirated at the beginning of the night. If you have Socialite's chat, you can tell the Crusader you're pirated and they can save you and kill the pirate. Because of this, I think Pirate's win rate is about to go down a lot. There are other examples too, like telling Town that if you don't speak in Socialite's chat after proposing to someone, the vigilante should shoot them that night, letting Town kill an evil a day earlier than they normally would have been able to. Maybe you see that as an intended strength of the role. I see it more as an unintended consequence that disproportionately punishes evils. So, in conclusion, while I have my fair share of worries about these roles, it's only been a couple days, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. And I'm looking forward to more balance patches coming in the future. The devs are still accepting role feedback on Discord, so they're likely to make some tweaks soon.